So we got the full summary for 1093, and we're going into way more than what we talked about in our spoilers video from yesterday. Like, we're going way more into the Gear 5 Luffy versus Kizaru stuff, the Zoro versus Awakened Lucci stuff, and some other things as well. So let's get into it. So the chapter starts with Kizaru getting spinned around by Luffy, and Kizaru's expression is unchanged. He's very calm. So this is coming off at the end of the previous chapter where we saw Kizaru busting into the control room trying to take out Vegapunk, but Luffy came through the hole in the ceiling in Gear 5, but he was like in his giant form, and just snatched up Kizaru. So this is what's happening afterwards. He's like spinning Kizaru around, but I guess he's not reacting the way that Kaido did. Like, he's not getting the Looney Tunes treatment. As it says that his expression is unchanged, he's calm. And as we're going to see throughout this chapter, Kizaru is very calm going against Gear 5 Luffy. And it makes me wonder how comparable his performance against Luffy compared to Kaido is. But we'll talk about that more later. Cut to the control room, and Vegapunk decides to go to the Fabrio phase with Sanji and Atlas. They want to save Bonnie and to change the Pacifista's orders with the authority chip. Vegapunk will use his own vehicle, the Vega Tank. Vegapunk refers to Bonnie as a little child. He talks about her as if she's a really small kid. It seems Bonnie's real age may be younger than we think. Wow, so that's somewhat of a twist. I mean, there were theories out there with Bonnie that she may have been actually older than what she appears. Like, she may have been, I don't know, in her 70s or something like that. But that was kind of debunked once we saw that flashback of her as a child with Kuma. But maybe the twist here is that that flashback wasn't as long ago as we thought. Maybe it was actually just like a couple years ago rather than it being like 10 plus years ago or whatever that it originally implied. You know, maybe she is, I don't know, like 10 years old or something, maybe 12. You know, considering that her devil fruit ability allows her to alter her and others' ages, you know, in theory, she could be any age. But this is more so implying that she's probably young. Nami, Usopp, and Edison remain in the control room, and Jinbei is carrying all of Vegapunk's stuff to the back of the island. Lilith is using Frankie Shogun to carry Thousand Sunny at the same point that Jinbei is going to. Frankie is going down to the Fabrio phase 2. So they have to do this because in the previous chapter, Kizaru kicked Gear 4 Luffy through the Vegaforce robot that was carrying the Sunny. So now they're using Frankie Shogun. And also it being pointed out here that Frankie is going down to the Fabrio phase as well makes me wonder what Frankie's significance will be this arc, because it keeps coming back to him more so than the other Straw Hats. I mean, aside from, you know, like Zoro and Sanji, of course. Because, you know, first of all, this is Vegapunk's arc, and Frankie is tied the most to Vegapunk among the Straw Hats. And I thought that he was going to have more stuff going on in this arc, so maybe he will have his moments soon. I just keep thinking that he's going to get his hands on those light-grabbing gloves, and maybe he deals with Kizaru. Those gloves have to come into play one way or another, whether it's through Frankie or someone else. Cut to the Fabrio phase, and Bonnie is there fighting against Marines. Sentomaru saved her when Bonnie was falling down after she hit the egghead barrier. Then Sentomaru passes out. So I guess this is happening after Sentomaru fought Kizaru, meaning that, yeah, as we thought, Kizaru didn't kill Sentomaru. He kind of just knocked him out. And I guess Sentomaru was able to get up after that and help Bonnie. And now he's passing out again. Unless this is in the past, but I don't think it is. Cut to Zoro versus Lucci. Zoro's swords have flames on them, and Lucci is using his awakened form. Kaku doesn't appear in this chapter. Zoro says, with this level, you won't get to fight our captain. And Lucci says, it is worth killing the number 2 of a Yonko's crew. So that was a really cool exchange there. Zoro hyping up Luffy, as he should, but also hard power scaling Lucci. But, you know, we the audience already saw Lucci go against Luffy, and we knew that Lucci was no match for Luffy. And I guess this is also Lucci admitting that, like, yeah, you know, I fought him. I know how powerful he is. However, you, on the other hand, the number 2 of a Yonko's crew, maybe I could take you down, which, you know, is a high accomplishment for Lucci. And also, it's pretty cool to just say that out loud. You know, we've been following the Straw Hats for years now, and only recently they officially became a Yonko crew. It's kind of hard to believe that they're like officially a Yonko crew and that Zoro is like a Yonko commander. He's like the second to a Yonko. So yeah, he's like a huge deal right now. But also, as for it saying that Zoro's swords have flames, he's also trying. It's not like he's like low diffing Lucci here. Like, this will be somewhat competitive, but ultimately I still don't think awakened Lucci is enough for Zoro. Zoro should probably be the one fighting Kizaru right now, in my opinion. But of course it's better that Kizaru fights against Luffy first. But speaking of that, back to Luffy versus Kizaru. Luffy throws Kizaru into the sea. And Kizaru says, "Ooh, I'm falling into the sea." However, Kizaru flies back and creates multiple light clones of himself. It seems it's an extension of his Yasakani no Magatama technique, and Kizaru's clones give Luffy minor injuries with their light swords. So that was a brilliant move by Luffy. Like, more characters should be doing this stuff, especially the good guys. Just throw devil fruit users into the sea, or just put them in water. Like, instantly done. But, you know, Kizaru, of course, has a fruit that allows him to fly, and also clone himself, which we really haven't seen too much of in this series, especially with the Logias, who you think would be doing that stuff. But maybe it's because Kizaru's fruit that it allows him to easily do this ability, or do it easier than other Logias would or could. I mean, it was enough to damage Luffy here with the light swords, but we're going to see that this is more so of a diversion than anything. It's not so much of an offensive tactic, because Luffy uses the Gomu Gomu no Dawn Stomp. Dawn. Right there, calling to the D, to destroy all the Kizaru clones, but real Kizaru is not there. Real Kizaru has returned to the control room to kill Vegapunk, but Vegapunk's already gone. So yeah, Kizaru just distracted Luffy with a bunch of Kagebushi no Jutsus, and then immediately went back to taking out Vegapunk. Like, that's how focused on his mission Kizaru is. And it goes back to him being a cog in the machine, and how he's just following orders, and how he's just, you know, really good at it too. Even while fighting against a Yonko, his main priority is taking out Vegapunk. And that's where, like, most of his mind is. But Vegapunk was gone when Kizaru got there, because Kizaru flies towards the Vega tank and attacks it with light, but Luffy follows him and defends the Vega tank. Luffy takes in Kizaru's light and splits it in multiple directions. So that's fascinating. I'm not sure how he's taking in the light here, unless he's, like, I don't know, grabbing it, which we assumed that he was going to, since, you know, Luffy grabbed lightning against Kaido. It totally makes sense that he can grab Kizaru's light and make it rubber with his awakened abilities. So I'm not sure if he's doing that here, or if he's just straight up deflecting Kizaru's light and splitting it into multiple directions. Regardless, awesome feat from Luffy here. The Vega tank arrives safe to the Fabrio phase. The chapter ends with Atlas overriding Kizaru's orders to the pacifistas. But in the last panel, the scene changes and we see Saturn staring menacingly. Alright, really exciting stuff. So I'm really surprised they actually ended this chapter with them successfully overriding Kizaru's orders on the pacifistas. Because before, Kizaru defeated Sentomaru and took the authority chip and commanded the pacifistas to destroy the sea beasts. And I thought that was going to last longer than it did now, but no, that's just stopping here. And Saturn staring menacingly, I assume in the final panel here, is awesome, because I think he's going to get his hands dirty, or at least go out there and recommand the pacifistas, since he has the highest authority. I mean, I'm assuming that's why he's here, you know, to command them, and just mainly the Seraphims, if all goes wrong. But as I've also talked about before, it's heavily implied that this guy's a beast among beasts, both literally and figuratively, because he might have a mythical Zoan devil fruit that's like a bison, or mythical bison or something. He's probably stronger than Kizaru, to be honest, and that might be why he's here, because Luffy might show that he's stronger than Kizaru, and then he fights against Saturn, and then we see, like, oh wow, the Gorosei are stronger than admirals. But also, Sanji is with the crew that just overrode the pacifistas, so maybe Sanji fights Saturn, and maybe he jobs to Saturn. Not sure, but that would be so exciting. At least let's see Sanji fight Kizaru too. Let's have Kizaru fight everyone. But let me know what you think about this in the comments, guys, and if you like the video, please give it a like, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.